Economic Survey 2023, recovery complete, outlook optimistic. And joining us in this discussion are Dr. Niranjan, Hiranandani, past president of ASOCHAM. Dr. Hiranandani, let me ask you, the Prime Minister says that the survey shows, global optimism towards our country. It says a focus on infrastructure, growth, agriculture, industries, and emphasis on futuristic sectors. How optimistic is industry with this kind of a playing field?
Thank you very much for inviting me. I think it's a great story for India. When we have the Russia-Ukraine war going on, we are seeing Europe economy in great difficulty, the Western countries in a recession, oil prices at a very great high, all the other difficulties with the external countries and atmosphere. India is a shining light, and I think the Prime Minister, the Finance Ministry and the rest of the government really needs to be complimented for the way the economy has been handled, including the Reserve Bank of India in the measures that it took in order to see that inflation and other aspects are contained. Two aspects I think stand out tremendously. The first is the financial fiscal handling of the economy. The second, which is I think very important also, is the geopolitical story.
Okay.
Today, for instance, let's take oil prices in India is concerned.
Right.
By handling the geopolitical situation, we've been able to save 35,000 crores of rupees by buying oil from Russia.
All right.
Just one aspect of it has made a world of a difference. If you look at a combined aspect of investments that is being done in the country in terms of the infrastructure, the growth of infrastructure, roads going at 35 kilometers per day of national highway being constructed, all the other infrastructure in terms of transport and other deliveries, railways being expanded, airports coming up across the country, all the transport activities being done. One.
Right.
Another aspect is the issue in terms of housing which is done.
Okay.
In the last 4 years, the Prime Minister Awas Yojana has constructed more than 1.1 crore affordable housing. Now,
Right.
this is unique
Sure.
to India and has really handled a large amount of the affordable housing sector. Not that more, it still needs to be done in the next
Okay.
couple of years,
So,
but certainly a way out. So all in all, if you look at the economic outlook, you see with the multiple actions taken by the country, by the Prime Minister, by the leadership,
Yes.
we've been able to do a unique growth of
Okay.
6.2%, which we are predicting for this particular year. But also looking at the fact that the other countries have actually had a huge setback. And
Right.
we are actually leading the roost in this place. It is certainly a great idea to do.
Okay.
And more so.
Yes, Dr. Hiranandani.
We are looking forward to a better year in terms of 2023
Right.
and even 2022.
Dr. Hiranandani, how much of an opportunity would you see, how much of an opportunity would industry see in green and renewable energy? Because there's a sustainable focus also for the future, where everything, our energy has to be clean. We have a net zero target by 2070 and we have to be moving in that direction.
I think the Prime Minister's commitment to the climatic change issue is the starting point of all these endeavors. If the government support is not there towards the green energy, all that industry would do would be to a naught. But having put this thing at the top of the agenda of the Prime Minister and the government, it is good for industry to focus on green energy and aspects of it, because it will need a lot of support. There are lots of issues before green energy can actually take over the situation, both in terms of investments into the sector, the pricing issues that will come up, and also the alternative aspects which will be available for using petroleum. So unless the incentives are not adequate, let's take two examples. One, let's look at the vehicular sector. The EV sector has really come up, and this has been incentivized by the government in terms of manufacturing, in terms of the cost for the purposes of people who are buying the cars. That is one aspect of it. And the other aspect of it is to see that the transmission of power relating to green energy will be at a cost which makes it worthwhile for doing it. So it is one aspect where certainly private industry will continue to invest into this aspect of it, but the support of the government in terms of all the facilities that is needed is also given. So I think all in all, you're going to see much more speedier movement towards green energy in India, green use of India in both in that. Also in various other sectors, you will see environmental friendly and climatic action. So for example, in housing, we are looking at green buildings. We are looking at aspect of afforestation into the area and protecting of forest areas. I think all in all, it's not just the power that sector that will come into the factor, but all the rest of the sectors too.
What needs to be done to sustain demand? Is the external sector explored enough? Do you think we need to do a little more to try and get our products to markets which are unexplored or underexplored, even given the external environment?
I think, Mark, I would be a contrarian view. 23 must be a focus on internal demand. We should not be relying more and more on the rest of the world in order to favor the demand, because the rest of the world is not growing at the pace it should, and demand is certainly going to be in a recession. While our internal growth story is much more dynamic, if we can focus on certain aspects of employment and demand creation within the economy, take certain things where the schemes are created. We must see to it that productivity into all these schemes are done, which are employment generated. Again, I would repeat, we need to focus on those industries which are employment generated more than just manufacturing alone. So I would say focus on textiles, which has more manpower generating, take infrastructure, which creates more employment, housing, which creates more employment, because it's not a question of only increasing GDP and doing that and growth of the country, but to see that the employment and doing, for which we have one more problem which we need to address, which is skill development. Today, for example, in my construction industry, if I want 100 skilled workers for construction, bricklaying, painting, fitters, carpenters, I don't get even 25. Though there is unemployment on one side, we don't get adequate employment. So we need to balance these two factors in order to see that the growth of the economy reaches all the people and the benefits actually percolate to all the people. So the growth story is fantastic, but the demand will come from the people within the country, at least for the year 2023-24.
And Dr. Hiranandani, what about your expectations?
I think investment budget. You're going to see a huge investments taking place in the economy. The country has benefited hugely. Let me give you one example of the downtrend benefits which are coming out because of the infrastructure. Our logistic cost in India is about 13% for every item sold or purchased, while in China it is 6 to 7%. With investments into road infrastructure, rail infrastructure, air infrastructure, port infrastructure, multimodal transport, we are going to bring these costs down from 13% to less than 10%. So our inflation, our total competitiveness in the international economy and the entire economy is going to benefit. So one focus will be on improving logistics and other costs, which is going to be tremendously beneficial for the economy. The second is a huge amount of benefit will go for those industries which are labor intensive. So you're going to see a lot of focus on things like textiles, infra, housing, and these aspects of it, because the multiplier effect of this is employment, and that is very important to do it. And of course, along with that, focus on skilling and upskilling and reskilling of people in the economy to get benefits of the new economy which is growing, both technology, industry, and of course the benefits that we see in terms of the increased PLI, manufacturing effects that is taking place. I think
Okay.
all this you will see in the economy tomorrow, which is a long-term thought. And of course, Mark, you're right, there's going to be some things for the people because we have elections next year.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, we leave it there. Thank you very much, Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani.